there everyone, it's Kathy and you're welcome back here to my YouTube channel and back into my craft room. I have done the craziest thing. I accidentally deleted my video that I had recorded earlier this week for Saturday's video. Today's Friday and I realized that just a few moments before it was time for me to go live, and it really set me into a bit of a tither. And I tried recording part of it, but it was a fail, so I'm starting over. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this really cute called North Pole Mischief stamp set, and we're going to use this image right here where the doggy has tied the cat up to this little package. He's shipping him off to the North Pole, and I love the sentiment that says happy gift wrapping season. That little puppy looks like he's just so proud of himself. I love the stamp. I thought it was so cute, and we are going to stamp this, and I'm going to use my stamp apparatus. I'm going to show you the card that I had originally done, and this is it, and I thought it turned out absolutely stunning. And we're going to do it over. This was my prototype, and then I went back and I redid it. And I think I liked this one even better than this one. But we're going to redo it, and I'm going to redo it exactly like this, or as close to it as I possibly can. So we're going to start out, I've already stamped and heat set my sentiment. And I'm using the stitched rectangle dies, and that's these right here. And I'm going to show you which ones I used. I used next to the smallest for my white piece. And I use the next one up for my red piece, and we're just going to center this in. Y'all are hearing Bella, she's whining in the background. I don't know what her problem is, but we'll get on with this hopefully without too many more hindrances. So I am going to go ahead and set this down. I have a piece of white cardstock loaded up in here. And I am going to ink this up using my Versamark watermark ink pad. And I'm using the stamp apparatus so that I can stamp it more than once. No, Bella, no. No. No, no. Go lay down. Go lay down. Alright, I'm going to stamp that over right there. Just like that. And she's usually really good. If I scold her just a tiny bit and tell her to go lay down, she's usually really good to mind me. So I'm just giving that a really good rub, and I'm checking my image, and it does look like it needs to be inked again, so I'm gonna go in. And that's the good thing about the stamp apparatus, it allows you to re-ink until you get the depth of color or the depth of your Versamark ink that you feel like is needed to give yourself a really good impression. Now with the Versamark ink, we're going to be using embossing powder, and we're going to heat set it, and I'm going to use the basic black for this. And oh yeah, that looks really good. Alright, so I'm good. And you know, I forgot to use my embossing buddy. Oh, it's just been one thing after the other. I told Jennifer earlier today that today feels like a classic Murphy's Law day. It's like one of those days where if it can go wrong, it most certainly will. So anyway, we're gonna trudge along and hope for the best. So I'm going to take this over, and I'm hoping that I don't get embossing powder everywhere. Sometimes I'm going to go twice on it. I am going to use my little brush. This comes in the essential kit that has the tray, the reverse tweezers, the brush, and the embossing buddy, which is what I forgot to use. I'm trying to get off any of that excess powder without moving my regular image powder. And I think that's pretty good. We're going to go with it. Hopefully it will set really pretty. I'm hoping. Close that up real well, and then I'm going to get my heat tool, and we're going to go ahead and heat it up so that it can be warming after I get my little, I'm going to use this little instrument to hook my piece on, and this will allow me to heat set it without burning my hand. So I'm going to turn this on, and I'm going to put it on 2. It has 2 settings, 1 and 2, 2 being your hottest. And whenever you're heat embossing, you want it on the highest setting. So I'm giving it a few minutes to heat up because you want this to be really good and hot. And then I'm going to take it to my paper and in little small circles, working in one area at a time until I see that start to turn shiny. I'm going to keep working it. There it goes. It's starting to get shiny. It goes faster the hotter it gets. I am kind of tilting it to the light so I can see when it completely sets. That probably looks pretty good. Now I am going to do one thing. I'm going to take it out and I'm going to hold it this way, and I'm going to put heat on the back of it. The reason for that, see how my paper's kind of curled? See, it's kind of warped a little bit. This will help it lay back down. Just heat up the other side of it a little bit, and it just really helps it to lay down kind of flat. And that's what you need when you are working with a piece like this. Alright, so we've got that done. I'm going to set this back over here. And now I'm going to let this sit and cool for a minute. And I'm going to show you what else I have here. We'll get to die cutting that in just a moment. I have die cut a piece of red using the stitched rectangle. And that's the right side. I have a card base that is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. We have a piece of Designer Series paper that is cut at 4 by 5 1/4. That's going to mat right about there, just like that. And then I have a piece of white cardstock that is also cut at 4 by 5 1/4. And oops, maybe not. This needs to be cut down. Let's double check this piece. This should be 4. Nope, see, it's a little bit big. 4 by 5 1/4. Yep, that's right that way. It just wasn't right the other way. And that's going to be our inside piece. So while we're still waiting on this to kind of get where it needs to be, I'm going to set the stamp case on top of it just to help it flatten out. I am going to go ahead and stamp on this piece, and we are going to put from the Merriest Christmas, maybe it was a Christmas to Remember. Yeah. Have a Holly Jolly Christmas. We're going to put that on the inside. And I'm going to stamp that in red. I'm going to put it up just a bit because I have an idea of something I want to do. So that looks good right there. I'm going to grab a stamp block. one looks really dirty. Oh yeah, that one was dirty. It's amazing how dirty the stamp blocks can get. And every now and then it doesn't hurt just to take an alcohol wipe and wipe them down. Just make sure you dry them good afterwards. Use a microfiber towel or something and just dry them off. And then you're ready to pick up your stamp. And I'm going to grab my real red ink pad. And I'm going to ink this up. And then I'm going to stamp this down up to the top just a bit. That looks really pretty. Now I want to grab my Memento. Actually, I'm going to use a different ink. I'm going to use a VersaFine Onyx Black. And the reason for this, I want this to be a really super dark black. And I find that if I use this, I get a much darker image. So we're going to do little paw prints down and then back up. I think it'll be really cute, and it just gives a little bit of kind of whimsical feel to this card. So I'm going to ink that little paw up and stamp it right there. Oh yeah, that's really pretty. So we're going to do little paw prints coming down. Then we're going to have him coming back up like he went all the way around the card. I think that's so cute. Little paw prints. Okay, now we have that done. I do want to clean the ink off of this red and the black. There we go. Alright, so now this is ready to go inside of our card. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and let's put this piece down. And I'm just going to use some liquid glue. You know, we could do this one so it'd be a little bit different. Let's do it with the smaller plaid. I have one with the larger. Like that. And then we're going to open our card and we are going to go ahead and put this on the inside, and I'm going to do the same thing with this. I'm just going to go ahead and put liquid glue around the edges through the middle. And let's set this down right about here. And now I think we can go ahead and making sure everything's set really good on that. I'm going to grab my die that I want to use to cut that out with, and we're going to go ahead and die cut that before we start coloring. So my stitched rectangles, And what did I do with that dye? Let's see. It's this one. I think it's this one. Yep. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring it up about like that. I'm going to go ahead and use some of my little flags to hold down my corners. Again, the paper is still kind of wanting to curl a little bit, plus my die's got a little bit of a curvature in it. So I just want to make sure everything holds nice and flat. I'm going to move this other stuff out of our way. I'm going to bring up the big boy, and I'm not going to even show y'all what I'm doing. Y'all have watched me die cut so many times. I don't think it's absolutely necessary. I am going to put that in at a little bit of an angle just to take some of the stress off of my machine. If you go in with a straight edge, it's never good. Not good for your dies or your machine or your plates. But if you go in just a tiny bit of an angle, it just works so much better. And now we are ready to do some coloring. And this is where the fun comes in. I love whimsical animals, and this this particular set just checks all the boxes for me. I'm going to start out because I want to do a little bit of shading around my area, and I'm going to zoom y'all in a little bit more so you can get a better idea of what we're doing. I think that looks good. And I'm going to use my brush tip, and this is the Mint Macaron, and I am just going to put a little bit of color all around. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just a little shading. You want it to look a little distressed. Like that. Come in around the cat. And around that bow. And just kind of fill it in, make it look a little blotchy. And see, it just gives it a look of like some, I don't know, a painted wall, a background. Now we're going to take our color lifter and we're going to go back over it, and we're just going to blend a little bit. Just blend it out a little bit. And this should just really help make it come to life. So I don't claim to be a great colorist. I pick up tips here and there, and I'm just like you know. I'll see somebody use a technique and then I'll try it and I'll be like, wow, Now if you notice where the whiskers were, it did smear a little bit. That's okay. We're going to come back in with a little bit more of that mint macaron and just kind of put a little extra color right there just to kind of camouflage that a little bit. And then back in with this. And now I want to do my present. And the present I'm looking at with this Tahitian Tide. So I have my light and my dark. I'm going to go in first with my dark, and I'm going to color the package. Now you got to be careful what's package and what's ribbon. So I know that this is package. This is package. And this is package. And this. And I'm using the dark first. I'm just putting down a foundation of color. Now this is package. And then right here. Doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to go back in and we're going to blend it using the light. And if you look, the light really does almost take on the same hue as the dark. Isn't that pretty? So those colors are done. Leave those over there. Now I want to work on my dog. And so for my dog, I want to bring in my smoky slate. So I'm going to come in first with the dark. And I am just going to establish some darker color. Right like that. Like that. Around his head just a hair, and maybe his ear. Then we're going to take the light and we're going to come back and we're just going to blend him out. I'm going to use a little bit of just a tap, tap, tap. You know, just kind of tap the color in, not really rubbing it. I want him to look like he's furry, not smooth. And if you do go smooth, I'll show you how you can rough it up a little bit. And give him a little bit. I'll come back in with the color lifter. And I'm just going to really dab, dab. And see how cute that makes him look. And I am going to put a light red collar on him, and then we're going to, let's go ahead and do our ribbon. I'm going to come in with my ribbon and I'm going to start out, and you're going to think this is so crazy. This is our dark soft suede, and I'm going to come in first with it wherever I think the red would be the darkest, and we're just going to put down a tiny bit of this, you know, where we would think it to be the darkest. Just a tiny bit. Anywhere that this ribbon crosses itself, maybe up here around the kitty's body, and then right in here where it twirls, and then maybe a little bit right there. Now I'm going to come back with my dark red. This is the dark real red, and we're just going to take and pull that color up. I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to do the same thing here. Just pulling it down, pulling it up. And then let's turn it. Do the same thing over here. And as you are doing this, you're going to notice that you're really not going to see the brown. You're going to start to just see the red. Once we get it about like that, we're going to come back in with that light real red, and we're just going to blend it. Like that. And by having the low lights and the highlights, it really does give you more dimension on your coloring. It makes it look more realistic. So I challenge you to pull out your alcohol markers, your Stampin' Blends, or whatever markers that you have, and try techniques like this. I always say we never know what we can come up with until we try it. I need a little bit more of the darker here. And right here. And then we can use the lighter just to finish that off with. It's like that. Look at the dimension on our ribbon now. Isn't that cute? So now we're done with that. So now we're going to do the same thing with our kitty. We've used this one. We've used that. We're going to come in with our kitty, and we're using the crumb cake. I'm going to use the darker crumb cake, and I'm going to do the same thing I did with the puppy. I'm just going to come in around the areas that I think would be darker. You know, where he's sitting, like maybe right down by this ribbon. Across there. Well, that kitty does not look happy, but that puppy is so proud of himself or herself. Oh, you know, I left a blue spot there on my package, or a white spot that should be blue. So I'm going to come back in now with my light crumb cake, and I'm just going to blend that out. Again, I want it to look a little splotchy. But remember, we can always splotch it up with our color lifter. Let me get that blue and see if we can touch up right here. Yep, very good. Now I'm going to take my color lifter and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to splotch him up a little bit. Just try to blend him out, make him look like he's got fur. And there's our kitty. Now we do need something in here to kind of make that look brighter. And I'm going to grab a So Saffron. And I'm going to go around the outside edges with the dark. And then we're going to take that lighter, and I'm going to use the brush tip, and I'm just going to very gently tap some color in there like that. And there is our piece all colored, and how cute is that? Alright, so we're ready now to go ahead and put this on this piece. So I'm going to glue that directly down. Maybe I'll use some Stampin' Seal. And I'm going to sit that down just like that. Give it a good press. And now this is ready to go onto our card. And I think for this I'm going to pop it up. Let's see, let me look at my sentiment and see what I want to do with it. I did find my little bag of dimensionals that I had cut off, so these would be great for using on this. See, I think I need some across here. And across here. And here. And let's snip this. Alright, so what I did is I put dimensionals on the back of this and just glued it down on the front of the card. And for this one, I put dimensionals across the top. I put them here and then realized they didn't need to go there, so I pulled them up. And what I want to do is put this down right about here. Something like that, but I need to put glue on this side. So we're going to pull out a little bit of glue and just run some glue along this bottom edge. And then we can set this down right about here. Just like that. And our card is done. Let me go back a little bit. Oops, wrong way. There we go. I will have everything listed in the PDF tutorial. I'm going to show you my other my other two cards. They are here. There is 1, 2, and 3. So now we have 3 of these to show. So I'll take a picture of these, and these will all go up on our blog. So thanks so much. I am so sorry that we had so much trouble with this. Of course, you probably wouldn't even know it if I hadn't told you. So I hope you enjoyed this card. It was a lot of fun to make, so much that I did it 3 times. Take care, God bless, and as I always say in closing, let everything that you do and say bring glory to our Father in heaven. He is worthy. Bye-bye.